Yeah, have you got a running order or anything for us? Or?
Nope.
Good.
Sick.
10 out of 10.
Don't worry, I got this. I am a professional podcaster. I've ran at least one podcast. Ho ho ho! Welcome everybody to the Podcat Potcast XMAS special!
Podcat Potcast. Podcat Potcast.
So a lot has happened since the last time we podcasted. For example, a ship got stuck in a canal. That was fun. That's about it. That's all that's happened, pretty much. That's about all that's happened since we podcast last. I guess there was a set that came out. Set will probably last forever, like every other set before it so far in the last 2 years. Sets now last about a year. I think that's about how long Hobby Japan want them to last now. You know, really stretch out that value so we get sick of them by the end. But that's probably all we'll talk about today. Opus 13, the best numbered Opus. Maybe not the best numbered game. I'm just kidding, Eureka. I'm just kidding. Never played it, don't care. But yeah, probably talk about Opus 13 today, and that's probably it because, you know, we have limited time, and Eureka likes to talk. So that's about as far as we'll get. So why don't we start with overall high-level thoughts about Opus 13? Let's go alphabetically. Esufer.
Opus 13 is a pretty cool set. When I first looked for it, when we kind of had the initial reveals, I was a little bit disappointed because it didn't have many characters from like the games that I grew up with, like 7, 8, 9, and 10. But if you actually look at the cards as cards and ignore what characters they are, I think it's actually one of the more exciting sets we've had recently. Especially considering some of the varying card quality we've had in some of the more recent sets. I think it's a pretty interesting set. Looking forward to actually getting to play this one, hopefully, if everything reopens as planned. But, you know, these are strange times, and that's almost definitely not going to happen. So I'll probably just buy my cards and then not use them. So, good time.
Eureka.
Yeah, it's a cool set. I kind of agree. There are some expectations about, Opus 13, Lightning Returns is going to be a featured category. And then there's like seven category 13 cards. They don't even have like the most important characters in there. So there's some disappointments in terms of like the flavor of the set for me, but it brought back a bunch of old gimmicks, like mannequins they've received some additional support, and they're actually like pretty good, all things considered. So yeah, there's a lot of flavor outside of that in like the Opus 2, Opus 3 return aspect of it. And I like that.
Sure. I think that one thing I would say is that typically, because the last few opuses were so good, I think a lot of people had their expectations very high, and during spoiler season, people got very low on the set, which typically, for anybody who has followed the game long enough, you should know that the spoilers that we see tend to be not the best. Like, the best cards tend to be the ones you don't see, rather than the ones you do see, more often than not. And I think there was a lot of people disappointed by the set before it had even come out. I don't know where people stand on it now, but I don't think they're as disappointed. I mean, I don't think it's as monumental a set as Opus 12, but, I do think people need to temper their expectations during spoiler season. That would be the only thing I would add. Wait for the full set before you decide that the set's shit, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that came out in spoiler season that kind of got overlooked, like overshadowed in favor of some other stuff. And that kind of makes a lot more sense in hindsight, because we didn't see like for example, Sophie and Sarah Mobius, right? Like, we just didn't know that these cards existed. And then, like, in hindsight, Nicole is like a fantastic card just because these cards got added. And there's a lot of stuff like that, like Axe Star was kind of shit on a lot. I wouldn't be there without getting my word in. But it's like that and Aldar Emperor are like the only things that make Lightning Fire viable. Like, everything else in that archetype sucks, but those two cards are actually just good, especially Aldar.
With how
yeah.
important context is for these spoilers, I think it is kind of we did get the spoiler a bit earlier this time, which is cool. But I mean, like for example, when I first saw the Squall backup, I was like, oh boy, is this a support FF8 needed? But then when you look at like Renoa and Laguna, the new ones, it's like, oh yeah, this is the support FF8 needed. This is way better than just by virtue of being called Squall.
Yeah,
So,
Squall was like one of those on reveal 0 out of 5 cards, and then like after reveal, you're like, oh, okay,
it would be really cool if they're going to spoil stuff like Squall. Make sure that like stuff like the Renoa and the Laguna are like spoiled the same week or something, just to like build hype. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, those were both completely hidden too. So
I don't know. I mean, it seems to definitely be their pattern to just not reveal the stuff that makes the ones you see make sense, or just the overall good stuff, like the best card. Like the best card we never saw. And that has happened the last few sets, at least in terms of their spoiler presentations. So it's hard because you want to get excited for spoiler season, but then when the spoilers come out, and everyone's like, oh, these are not good, but you haven't seen the full set. It's it's a balance, because I think there is an understandable justification to wanting to see or think things are good during spoiler season, but given the way they do things overall, not just in spoilers, it's hard to it's hard to get excited until you've seen everything, basically.
Yeah,
I can't
totally
imagine
agree.
like how it must be for the community reps as well, because how often do you think they want to kind of chime up and be like, no guys, this card's actually sick, just hang in there, but they just can't.
Yeah, I think specifically in the case of Squall, they could have just spoiled, like, you don't have to spoil Renoa even though Renoa would have been a fine card, but like spoil the Laguna, right? Squall is like the least interesting of like all of the 8 cards that came out. It's just like a TCP vanilla backup with the category and name. So, I digress.
It's also funny because every time you put a spoiler out, somebody has to justify it. Some content creator, whether it be community or official, have to justify this card in like the void.
It's good in title.
Oh, this card, this card, in theory, can do this. Like our 10 spoiler is like, oh well, if you can last 15 turns to play this card, fantastic.
The Vanille, Vanille. It's like 0 out of 5 card, worst card of the set. Maybe it'll be broken someday, and we have to like write a positive article about it.
Not me, thank fuck.
Yeah.
That's why they don't give me spoilers.
We left it all.
Like, what the fuck is this shit? God. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I guess the other stuff in terms of is weird to break up, because I think the only stuff that I talk about is basically decks and cards. So in terms of like decks, you're excited about or looking at building, or cards that you're excited about either just in the void or because of it makes certain decks better. Not necessarily meta. I think we'll get to meta in a minute, but just in terms of like decks and cards that you're excited about from the set, Esufer.
When the set first came out, I was kind of hype on Nimbus, but I've kind of given up on that because I didn't pull any when I got my box. I think at the moment I'm probably most excited to get Cadets built, even though they only get 9 this set in terms of actual playable stuff. He feels huge. Like on paper, he seems awesome.
Yeah, Cater is pretty. Like, I don't know how the backup and name works for like Sync and Cater, so like if you can figure that out. But like Cater is pretty good. Like it's just a 2 CP 6K, but she buys 3 CP back or deals damage. So
if they give us like I don't know, like a backup marketer to replace the Cater that we've already got, then I'll be much more open to running the forward Cater, I think.
That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
It would be quite nice, yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited to build Cadets. I've hopefully got my 9s and my Gold Bezzers arriving in the mail this week. I've also got the rest of my Mono Fire coming this week as well. So every set I say I'm not going to play Mono Fire, Mono Lightning, but this set I'm playing Mono Fire, Mono Lightning. So all good.
Eureka.
So I've been streaming a lot of Sophie decks. Played the 3-color version and the 2-color version. The 3rd color having Ice for like Nimbus and Celestia and Chime and stuff like that. And that deck is really sweet. It's totally my style, where you just kind of don't do anything for a long time, and then eventually you get all of the free advantage playing a bunch of 0 CP forwards, and then they're also huge and deal damage. So yeah, I think that deck is really sweet. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm not totally sure it's like it's good, but I don't know if it's like the best deck of the format. It kind of seems like it'll have some problems, but Sarah was an absolutely huge addition, not just for this deck, but in the meta in general. And playing a deck that can make use of it is really great.
Shout out to Eureka, twitch.tv/Eureka-, just turned affiliate. So go watch that.
Yeah.
Toss them your Prime or whatever. Yeah, I'm just maybe going to have to play. I think I said something about if there's cadets I would play. So I think I'm forced to play at some point.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to play the game. How does it work? But obviously, I'm excited for cadets. You know, they're not quite tier 1 meta that I wanted, Kageyama, but you know, maybe you've moved them. But I genuinely believe that cadets may have been moved around, like probably some other things, because they put more multi-elements in. So if we start getting like drip-fed cadets, I'm going to be really mad if by Opus 15 and looking back in Opus 13, the cadets would have been like tier 1 because of the stuff we get. But you know what? I'll just be happy to get some cadets. It's
They're going to be the new Dragoon, dude. You're going to get one cadet a set. You'll always be one card short of being viable.
just one card short.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dragoons are still the same though.
How does it feel that like Dragoons and Mannequins are better than cadets right now?
Oh, fuck
You
me.
have to say it, dude.
They've always kind of been. I mean, since I've been playing, they've always been kind of shit. So
Yeah.
it's not anything different. I mean, the only time in the sun they had was in title. You know,
Yeah.
which I guess they maybe have their time. I don't know how this affects title. If it
Oh,
makes them
I'm sure it's
up there.
great in title. Yeah, it was already like one of the best decks in title before.
Yeah. So I mean, you know what? Like, title's like the forgotten format at this point. Like, they like to pretend it exists while also forgetting it exists. Like, they'll just, we're limiting Neo X Death in title. But what's title again?
Yeah.
You know, like, that seems to be their mantra. Like, we remember it's a format when we ban cards or limit them, but we don't remember it's a format when we actually come to tournaments. L3 though, guys, right?
Oh my god.
L3
L3 is like, yeah.
It's the worst.
The timing was awful, and then like I think what really turned a lot of people off to it was like standard ended up being like Ritz and BFA. And then you're like, okay, I guess I'll go play L3, but then that's also Ritz and BFA. And then Opus 12 comes around and all the cards come out, and you're like, oh man, there's just like a lot of lock decks and like, you know, Sam's and Neo X Death. And if you go to L3, you can escape Sam's, but then you're only playing against Neo X Death decks. This is like I don't know if they just like dropped the ball on like set design for L3, but god, the meta has been awful ever since it came out for that. So maybe if we get a good meta, I think it could pick up, but geez.
I think the issue with L3 you've got as well is, unless you want to play something that is like going to be good in standard anyway, you're probably playing a deck that's got an absolutely dog shit backup line, because they don't release many exciting backups versus forwards. So you've got this awesome forward line of all shiny new stuff, some pretty good summons maybe, and then your backup line is just literally whatever fits in your colors. It's not great. We need bigger sets maybe, or just better backups in general if they want L3 to work. But
yeah.
It doesn't help that there's been less backups in the most recent sets because multi-elements are all forwards.
Yeah, it's I have a funny feeling that, like, even though sometimes it looks like they do, I'm not entirely convinced that they do anything but standard sets, and then they just make these formats and are just like, do what you want with them. Like L3, it's a format, I guess. We didn't think about it, but it's there. Title, we didn't think about it, but it's there. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that they can balance for title. Title is just like every deck does so broken stuff. Yeah.
Title's like Mugen. Just get like the strongest characters and just set them against each other.
Yeah.
Title's mad. I love it.
But I also don't believe they're really balancing for L3 either. Like, I just don't believe it. Especially, like, because they've just shook up the sets and, like, changed things around. And it's like, that completely messes with, like, if you were building for L3, like, that potentially completely messes with that.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, we don't know, like, in the weeds what's actually changed. And I don't think they'll ever tell us. Other than the fact that they're pushing for more multi-elements in this set and then the next set. But maybe we'll see that from Opus 15 when it all comes out, and it's like, oh, this would have been good in Opus 13. It's dog shit now, but, you know, it would have been good.
Yeah. These last few sets have been so powerful, too, compared to, like, the first 10.
Yeah. Power creep doesn't exist, though. I read it in an article.
That's true.
All right, I guess what's left for Opus 13, besides like final thoughts, is the meta. It's very early, I think, too early probably to say. But saying that, there is a tournament coming up. I should probably mention. Well, there's technically two, I guess, which is the League of Light. If you haven't heard about it, I don't know, look it up on Facebook or something. I don't know how to actually find it. I'm not putting a link.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tournament being held by Matt Rice, and yeah, it's open to like pretty much anybody. You can join. It's got competitive and casual. I mean, I think it's full now, but you can sign up as a reserve. And he also has another tournament coming up on the 3rd, which is Zanarkand. Yep, close enough. Which is, again, open. You can still sign up if this podcast goes out on time. It's the 3rd of April that's on. One-day event, full way through. So, make sure you've got a good time zone. Otherwise, you're going to be a sleepy boy or girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then the League of Light, if you get in or have already got in, starts on the 5th. So I guess there's probably pretty much the only tournament to look forward to. Those Square Enix webcam tournaments really lasted a long time. Really exciting stuff. I mean, unless you live in Japan, pretty much, where it's about the only place that actually kept them going.
Yeah.
Everywhere else they kind of just stopped, and you're just stuck not playing the game. But League of Light, it's Octagon/Untapped. At least even if you can't play, maybe you can watch some games, know that it's on, and see some cool stuff. But I expect a meta to probably develop from that. Maybe not as official a meta as we would like, but people are gonna have to figure some stuff out through that, and you can play a different deck every game. Best of 3, don't forget best of 3, guys, until top cut, in which case you're stuck with one deck. Two decks on competitive. I don't know if we've decided on what casual's doing in the top cut, but either way. If you're in competitive, it's 2 decks. If you're listening and you didn't know that and you're in competitive, it's 2 deck format for the top cut. I think it's top 32. Did I make that up? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, just thought I'd mention that. It's probably too late to sign up, but you could sign up as a reserve. It's going to keep going, so it's got like seasons. It's not like a one-off, it's a seasonal thing, so there will probably be people dropping between seasons. So check it out if you've not. But anyway, the meta. Let's talk about the meta, or where we think the meta's at, or what we're looking at in the meta. I'm sure Sophie will come up a billion times. Esufer, go for it.
Man, I don't know. With the meta,
great. Eureka?
No, to say there's tons of really cool stuff this set. I'm expecting to see quite a lot of FFTA because kind of once you start putting cards in, it seems to get a lot of the way there itself. And cards like Ledner, I think they're going to have quite a game warping effect when people don't know either how to deal with it or they discard the 2 cards to get rid of it in an inopportune time, that kind of stuff. Not having played in a tournament since before lockdown, I think is kind of going to mar my view on what's going to be big. I think we're still going to see Samurais a lot because, well, I don't think there's anything that's taken away too much from it this set. And it did get a couple of cool bits in terms of, like, you've got Rain and you've got Irvine that can trigger Magister as well, which is pretty cool. And of course, like Palm and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think because we're kind of sitting on top of, is it like 3 sets now of like bottled up stuff of people wanting to play? I think the first few tournaments are going to look really pretty insane in terms of what we see, like a wide variance of stuff. So yeah, I would say kind of wait and see. Anything could happen, but also things like Sophie, which I'm sure Eureka's going to talk about, are going to be quite popular.
Eureka.
Yeah, I think the decks that have a straightforward game plan are always the most popular, like right out of the gates. So I think FFTA is like the clear go-to choice for a lot of people going into these tournaments. They just want to, like, it's just so appealing to play like Lednar or continue to play Earthfire with Eldor Emperor or whatever other card you want to splash in the Lightning Watercolors. Because they're just really powerful decks that are good against the general field and can also beat up on control. On the other side, there's Sophie for the control players, which is still relatively straightforward. You don't have to go out of your way to tech for other stuff to beat a wide field with Sophie. I don't think. Obviously, if the field gets smaller and there's fewer decks in the top, you can probably change your tech to fit that, but that's going to go for all decks. So I think Sophie is kind of an exception in the control side of things, where like all of your cards are just good enough and your game plan is straightforward enough because you're playing 0 CP cards that you can just play it without focusing too much on what kind of tech you're running and still have a good matchup against most of the stuff in a tournament. So yeah, I think Sophie and FFTA are like the new decks. And then I think we're still going to see tons of Samurais and, or maybe we won't see them, but they should be there, but people just want to play new stuff. Who knows? And I think Neo XS is actually just good right now too. But I haven't done a lot of extensive testing. As you can imagine, it's difficult to find somebody who wants to play it or play against it. So it's just kind of how I feel, like my gut feeling for that is that Neo XF is still just a really good deck. And then there's just like everything else. I don't think Storm is quite as good now as it was last set. It's just not as well placed to deal with FFTA and Sophie. So we'll have to see how things go. But yeah, there's a ton of options and everything looks really strong. So any of those straightforward decks can definitely just get there.
All right. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts. It's good thoughts. Thanks, yo. Is there any final thoughts you have about Opus 13 that you want to add that we haven't talked about, Esufer?
Other than I don't understand why some players in Japan are really hype on Fissalis. I just don't get it, man. No, I think Opus 13 is going to be good. It doesn't feel bad to buy packs, which is pretty cool. And also, people, please stop overinflating the price of full arts. That'd be great. Thanks.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, should we talk about full art lightning?
Yeah, I gave up on those super quickly.
Go ahead.
I was set up for normal falls at 325 each.
Yeah, it's a full art hero that's like has a unique effect, but isn't like that strong. But it's still like a bill, even in Japan now. What the fuck? Like, is this just like the popular character syndrome?
I think in lockdown we've seen tons of people asking about wave 1s and A002s and shit. I just wonder if a load of people have been sat there, nothing else to do with their money. They're like, shall I just go and speculate on a card game? And I think we first saw it with Tifa in Opus 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think like right now, just generally card game wise, there's a big push or hype like behind like, you know, old sets, Pokemon sets, Magic sets. Like a lot of people unboxing online. Like I've seen all sorts of creators doing that shit, and you know, prices are up like across the board. And I think that has made its way to Final Fantasy, where people are seeing that like, oh, old Pokemon cards are worth money, and now it's like, hey, old Final Fantasy. It's like, it's not that old, guys. It's, you know, it's like, okay, it's maybe worth a little bit more money, but I think that we're starting to see like these prices go up, and there's not because we're not out of lockdown, there's no way to kind of judge the market. Products are being delayed, you know, there's issues with all that stuff, and so then the waifus go up, and it's just, I think that maybe when we're all out of lockdown and things settle and we can get promos like the Aerith promo and things like that, prices will start to like go down.
We'll be able to buy more packs at the very least. Like you'll be able to walk into your locals and buy like 5 packs or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's all having an effect, and you know, you're definitely. I mean, the cards that are going up in value are not the good cards more often than not. You know, it's the waifus, it's the Tifas, it's the lightnings, it's the promos that people can't get their hands on. You know, I mean, I've seen people putting like ridiculous prices on things on the marketplace, and you're just like, what? You know, like Final Fantasy, you know, generally is known as like a fairly cheap to get into card game, and now it's like. Looking at all this stuff, I was like, Jesus Christ, imagine trying to join the game and seeing like, oh, if you want this Tifa, it's £2 million, please, thank you. Please come right in and play the card game. It's very welcoming. I think it's just I think it's a combination of, you know, Corona causing lots of issues, and just generally TCG old cards / you know, waifu cards being hype across the board. But yeah, Eureka, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, the way as a Reddit moderator, the whole wave 1 thing and like Tifa and everything is getting pretty annoying. You know, I'm sure you can relate to that. But yeah, it's kind of depressing since I full foil, you know, 13 stuff. That like I would actually just have to drop $300 to foil these cards when it's just. I'm probably never even gonna put more than like 1 or 2 of them in a title deck or whatever. But I would have to drop it for the playset. I was hoping, you know, like they'd be like $30 or whatever, because you know the most expensive foil or full art hero so far up until this set was Amaterasu, and it was $30 on release. So yeah, it seems ridiculous, but you know, investors and collectors will be investors and collectors, and it's just I got priced out of it. Just the way it is.
Can they just go do it to another card game that we don't play instead? Like, if you want to go make your money, there's Dragon Ball, there's Digimon, go for it, guys, have fun.
I've heard of Force of Will, guys. I don't know if you've heard of Force of Will, but I've heard that's the hot new card game. Everyone should go invest in. Was it Lord of the Five Rings? Is that the one?
Legend of the Five Rings, I believe.
Legend of the Five.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
It's like that's the one.
Just edit that out.
It's okay. That's the one where it's like you just like buy everything, right? And
yeah, it's a living card game
like,
where I think it's just all pre-done. Yeah.
Is it like Keyforge?
No, I think Keyforge is completely random, isn't it? Like completely random.
Oh right, so this is like a you get
Everyone has
like,
everything.
the
Yeah,
set.
yeah.
You get like a playset.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, cool. Fair enough.
Yeah, I have no idea how card games like that work.
Nick's used to play a lot of them.
I know how Keyforge works. It's
You just buy shitloads until you get something viable. Yeah.
pretty much like, you know, I mean, I never really was that interested as a card game. It never really appealed to me, but I had some people at locals that really got into it and bought like cases of the thing. And it is literally that. Like you basically just open boxes until you get a good deck, like until you get like, you know, one that contains this sort of stuff. Like there's better what they call like, I don't know, like regions or, you know, clans, whatever the fuck they're actually called. And you know, that's the clan you're looking for, and you know, if you get like some good stuff in that, then you know, you're quids in. But they also do things like sealed tournaments, so like you go in and then you just get given like a deck, and then you have to play that deck or however many decks, like maybe you get like 3 of them, and you play those 3 decks throughout the day, right? And you obviously don't know what you're getting beforehand, which seems a bit like, okay, cool, but you could just be completely fucked on what decks you get. It's, I don't know, I can understand the appeal to some people, but for me, I was just like, nah, I'm good, thanks. But yeah, I guess my only last thoughts kind of echo Esufer, like that sniper 03 2021 card.
Priceless, yeah.
Copy.
I forgot copy or whatever the code was. Good job, Square Next. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not actively playing enough to comment, but I've seen the reasoning, I've read the card, and I don't personally see it, but because I love Japan and I love Japan's mentality, but this is a really weird one to me. But it's okay because Eureka and Katka agree with me, so that makes me right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Everybody's like putting Faceless in their decks. Everybody's like, oh yeah, dude, Fire Ice. Oh yeah, Wind Ice. You know, and I'm just like
not even like a 1 of 3 of.
Yeah, I haven't even dropped a game to either of those archetypes, so I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Maybe they're gonna make me understand, or maybe, you know,
if it is good, right? Let us know before the price goes up. Thanks to the speculators, yeah.
The price is already up because of like Japan, at least in Japan. Anyway, maybe not outside Japan. I have 3 of anyway because I bought a playset of the whole fucking set. So, go me. I think I'll try and do that going forward, to be honest. But yeah, that's Opus 13. The set will be here for many, many months because Opus 14 was officially delayed to like September.
No, it can't be that long, right?
No, it's September. Yeah.
Does anyone know
It's September. Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
Sorry, actually, sorry. The starter deck is September, and the
I've got 18th of July here.
No, it's August 3rd. It was pushed back.
August, right?
It's August 3rd, and then the starter deck comes out like a month after, which makes no fucking sense. But
I guess is it a 14 starter deck or is it a 15 starter deck in terms of Opus?
It's a Opus 14 starter deck. It was supposed to come out the month before, and now it comes out the month after.
So that is not how you do product.
Wait, so that means we're going to get the starter cards in the set?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have the starter cards in the set before they come out of the starter deck. So you'll have to get foils to play them. Or maybe they just make them legal.
Check my playset if it includes S's, because
probably not.
Question.
Probably not. But
no, probably not. But
could you imagine like getting the starter card, like having to play the starter cards in your deck, so you like have to get foils?
Imagine, like they're like meta changing, and it's like, all right, guys, well, you're gonna need to get foils of these if you're gonna want to play for the next month. God. Anyway, yeah. So a long time, pretty much, quite a lot of months until we get Opus 14. But hey ho, we have lots of tournaments to keep us busy, such as none of them, officially anyway.
No, I think when you hit May and stuff starts reopening, you're going to see a lot of people try to run tournaments.
Probably local stuff. I think we're a bit away from. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Winter Cup.
Yeah, that's all I want. If this year's
okay.
success if we have a Winter Cup.
Yeah, let's hope for like a Winter Cup in like December. Anything before that, I'm not going to put a definitive on because it's just who the fuck knows at this point. We'll come out of lockdown and get back straight into lockdown. I can just see it again. Yeah, it's a strange time. I mean, America's on its way to wave 4, like really, really.
I thought they only cared about wave 1.
What?
Got him.
Heh.
But I think that's it. I mean, like, there's not much else to talk about. There's no future tournaments coming up officially. There's a long time till the next set. Probably a long time till the next podcast because there's fuck all to talk about. Maybe have a podcast some point after season 1 of League of Light to discuss. Maybe, I don't know, or during or whatever. But yeah, is there any closing thoughts about anything game related or whatever you want to add, Esufer?
No, not really. I'm looking forward to getting back to
Excellent.
locals. I'm looking forward to cracking that reunion pack and playing with my friends.
Eureka?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play online. I'll be streaming, so
Yeah, me too. I will be playing online at some point. Look forward to it. I don't know when, what I'll do or whatever.
yeah, you have to.
It's fine. Yeah, I don't actually think he met the requirements, but I'll do it anyway. I'll play like a couple of games on like some random alt no one will know because I'll be like, how does this fucking Octagon work again? Although he did release an updated instructions manual on it, which I was quite happy about, because I think at this point the old one is like really old and has too much bloat in it, to be honest. Like you have to scroll like 17 pages down to actually get to the instructions. I haven't looked at this one in terms of how far you have to go down for the instructions, but hopefully it's a bit better put together. But yeah, so that's cool. I will be a part of League of Light as a judge. So, look forward to me telling you how the game works, everyone. And you can disagree with me, but you're wrong. So it's fine. Esper, you're not playing in it, are you?
No, I'm on the stuff.
You're on the staff, that's right. I mean, you can play on it as even as a judge or staff. It's not like a real tournament, but he's not. And Eureka is playing in it. He is not staff. Are you staff? You're not staff. You're not staff.
I'm not staff.
You're not staff. Sad. But you are playing in it.
Rob and Sam.
I was gonna say you're in a very interesting pod. You're in a very
Spicy pod.
interesting,
Yeah,
a very spicy pod.
B.
The pod to watch, as many people will say. And the pod that recently only become more spicy, and could become even spicier because it's got an open slot. If I remember, I don't know if it's been replaced. But...
Yeah, I think like 98% of the slots are taken at the moment.
Yeah, I think that one's the only one with an open slot. I don't know what's happening with that slot. I can't comment, but genuinely because I don't know, not because I can't tell you. But yeah, interesting to see what happens from that tournament. I think that's about the only thing on the horizon, and yeah, it's a good tournament. It's got some good support. Rice did it all sitting on a seat, but lots of support from a chair.
Indeed.
Nice.
But I think that's it. There's not much else to talk about. So let's move to the next segment. I'm kidding. I didn't write a running order. I don't have a segment.
That said, no running order. This has easily been like the most constructive podcast we've ever done, I think.
Well, that's because it's not just me like cutting off to like random things, and I actually thought yesterday, like, what do we need to talk about? I was like, Opus 13, what is there to talk about? Decks, cards, meta, thoughts on it overall, high level thoughts. Plus I've also done like, I don't know, 4 million podcasts at this point, so hopefully I can run a podcast. But yeah. Anyway, segment change. On this podcast today was me. It's Yo again. It's your girl, Yo. Woo. Esufer was here. And Eureka too. Twitch.tv/Eureka-. Affiliate now. On his way to partner, I'm sure. Check it out.
I'll try.
Give him your Prime if you can. Thanks, guys. And remember the podcast's iconic last signature saying Twitch.tv/Eureka-. Give him your Prime if you can. Bye.
We're showing out.
I mean, why not, right? TFE represent. Yeah, bye everyone. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Merry Xmas, because it's the Xmas podcast.
Hit the sleigh bells, yo.
Yeah, we're slaying the bells and we're decking the halls. I thought about saying that yesterday and I forgot. So I've said it at the end.
Smashed it.
Let's splice it into the start.
10 out of 10.
All right, cool. That was good. It was a good podcast.
And here's where we try not to say anything incriminating because Yo's still recording.
No. I'm not recording. I'm gonna stop. How long was that?
I'm not recording. Tell me your opinion on Barrel-Eye Guido decks in a competitive environment.
Oh my god.
This podcast is 98% efficient.